Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon as we discuss statements made last week by Sheriff of Kane County, Ron Hayne. During a remembrance ceremony dedicated to honoring the life of brave K-9 Officer Hudson, who was shot to death last year, Sheriff Hayne selfishly and disrespectfully used what should have been a sacred time to honor the fallen officer and turned it into a public platform to shine the spotlight on himself. Responding to a statement I made 4 months ago, which he has not publicly refuted in those 4 months. The sheriff made absurd and egregious accusations against the Aurora Police Department. Before we get into the accusations and give them their proper corrections, let me say this. What we saw last week was indicative of Sheriff Ron Hayne and his playbook, pointing the finger, blaming others, and outright lies, while attempting to make himself look good in spite of evidence to the contrary. Ron Hayne has a knight on a white horse mentality, and this is exactly the reason why so many in the county, including those in his own department, have serious issues working with him and often distance themselves from his actions and statements. We saw that at this same event last Friday when the Kane County State's Attorney Jamie Mosser refused to speak after Hayne made his comments and quickly issued a statement immediately following the event disavowing the sheriff's accusations. Quoting the state's attorney, she said, and I quote, "I respectfully disagree with the statements made by the Kane County Sheriff at this morning's ceremony. I do not blame the Aurora Police Department or the mayor of Aurora for the events that transpired. While I attended the ceremony to show support, I was unaware that such statements would be made. At this time, the matter remains under investigation by the Major Crimes Task Force and is under review by my office. We will continue to seek justice based on the facts and the law." End quote. Now, I am confident when the full investigation is complete, we will indeed see who's really to blame. The sheriff intentionally but foolhardily left his part out of his comments. He only blamed the death of the fallen canine officer on Aurora's actions and lack of communications. But he added insult to injury by claiming leaders of the Aurora Police Department refused to collaborate with the Sheriff's Department on joint interviews for the past 6 years. Both are wrong and flat-out lies that the sheriff should publicly retract. But we know that won't happen because it would change the narrative of misinformation that the sheriff continues to spin. But we are here today to correct the record on both accounts. We have APD Commander Steve Stemmet, who will put into context what happened during the deadly 24-hour period in May 2023. And Aurora Deputy Chief Matt Thomas, who will share the many ways APD has collaborated with the Sheriff's Office over the years. We'll then conclude with Chief Keith Cross, who will put these matters into context and how wasting time responding to silly and false statements made by the sheriff doesn't really benefit either department or the tax-paying public. Commander Stemmet.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon. My name is Commander Steve Stemmet, and I was asked to speak today to provide a factual background and describe a timeline of events that took place during the days leading up to May 24th, 2023, involving a subject named James Moriarty. I want to be very clear that I cannot and will not make any comments regarding the Kane County Deputy's pursuit of or subsequent shooting involving Mr. Moriarty. As there is an ongoing investigation into those matters, my doing so would be improper. I will, however, offer my sincere condolences to all of the Kane County deputies that were affected by the loss of K-9 Hudson and involved in this incident, as well as to the family of Mr. Moriarty. During the 2-day span of May 21st and May 22nd, 2023, our department took multiple incident reports involving Mr. Moriarty, related to a continuing domestic situation with an ex-dating partner and our efforts to apprehend Mr. Moriarty safely. Thankfully, his ex-dating partner was not physically injured in any of these events, but her cell phone was removed from her hand and stolen. Mr. Moriarty was also involved in 2 criminal damage to property reports, where a City of Aurora parking facility was damaged. Our officers were involved in a pursuit with Mr. Moriarty on May 22nd, 2023. However, he was not apprehended. The pursuit was terminated per our policy after excessive speeds were reached, and the immediate need to apprehend Mr. Moriarty did not outweigh the inherent danger to the public, officers, and Mr. Moriarty himself that was caused by the pursuit. Our officers made 2 other attempts to apprehend Mr. Moriarty on May 22nd. However, he fled at a high rate of speed both times, and our officers made the decision not to pursue due to the high rates of speed and other factors. During follow-up investigation into some of these events, our officers made phone contact with Mr. Moriarty and developed a rapport with him. Mr. Moriarty made references to having a gun, not going back to jail, and committing suicide by cop. As a result of these events, our officers had numerous charges authorized and sought arrest warrants. Throughout the rest of that night, our Special Operations Group made attempts to locate Mr. Moriarty with negative results, and his whereabouts were unknown. One of my responsibilities at the Aurora Police Department is overseeing our Special Operations Group. I would now like to detail events that took place the following day on May 23rd involving investigators from that unit. These events were documented in a police report authored by a Special Operations Group sergeant, and that report has previously been released to the public and media via FOIA requests. On the afternoon of May 23rd, 2023, Special Operations Group investigators were contacted by the Kane County deputies who advised they would be in the Aurora area attempting to locate Mr. Moriarty's vehicle. Our investigators responded to assist, and subsequently, they located Mr. Moriarty's vehicle parked on the far west side of Aurora. The Special Operations Group then initiated a covert surveillance of that vehicle and seamlessly worked in conjunction with the Kane County deputies who maintained an outer perimeter. Our surveillance and arrest plan included an arrest team, a block vehicle, and tire deflation devices that were deployed to ensure that the suspect vehicle would not, once again, flee in a reckless manner, creating an unnecessary safety concern to anyone involved or uninvolved. The arrest team was equipped with a ballistic shield, less lethal force options, and a distraction device. The vehicle was parked in an ideal setting for this operation to take place, and the experienced investigators were committed to doing everything they could to take Mr. Moriarty into custody safely, now that this operation was more controlled and no longer a pursuit situation, and given our concern for his mental state. Unfortunately, after hours of working cohesively and while in constant communication with deputies and supervisors on the street, Kane County deputies advised our investigators that they had been ordered by the sheriff to tow the car from our controlled, covert surveillance detail. When marked Kane County squads arrived to follow the orders of Sheriff Ron Hayne and tow the car, our covert investigation was completely compromised, and our investigators were forced to clear the area. This directive was highly unusual in common law enforcement practice. In fact, a Kane County supervisor apologized to our investigators and said he felt terrible about the situation that was forced on them. The following day, left without a vehicle, Mr. Moriarty committed an aggravated vehicular hijacking in Aurora. He was subsequently involved in a pursuit and shooting with Kane County deputies. Speaking on behalf of our command staff, we truly value our working relationship with the Kane County Sheriff's Office. I would also like to add that despite another recent, unfortunate challenge by Sheriff Ron Hayne, we will continue to support the men and women of the Kane County Sheriff's Office and all of our many law enforcement partners. I would now like to introduce Deputy Chief Matt Thomas, who is going to outline some of our efforts we take to have a solid working relationship with the Kane County Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Thomas. I am the Deputy Chief of Police, and I'm responsible for assisting the Chief with planning, managing, and directing all of our department's operations. In Aurora, numerous agencies operate within and along the borders of our city. We collaborate, train, and share resources with these departments daily. However, I would argue that the Kane County Sheriff's Department is the agency we partner with the most. As the second largest city in Illinois, Aurora spans 4 counties, with Kane County making up the largest portion of Aurora. Therefore, it is imperative that we work together as law enforcement partners. We deeply value this partnership because our joint efforts are crucial to maintaining the safety of both our community and our officers. I'm going to highlight just a few of the ways we partner, train, and collaborate with the Kane County Sheriff's Department. Training is one of the most critical areas we focus on in policing. Conducting joint training exercises provides insight into the capabilities of each agency. It gives us awareness of each agency's command structure. We learn the communication capabilities of the agency to achieve seamless interoperability. And it standardizes the training so that when our agencies deploy, our combined personnel are on the same page. Some examples of our teams who train together are the K9 units, the special response teams, and our accident reconstruction teams. Our agency utilizes the Kane County K9 Training Academy, which is one of the best in the region. Twice a month, our units train with their team to practice and perfect their skills. Our special response teams train together to familiarize themselves with the different types of equipment and operational strategies we each have. And our accident reconstruction teams share resources and rely on one another for different areas of expertise. APD and the Kane County Sheriff's Office work together on several federal and local task forces as well, including the Kane County Major Crimes Task Force, which not only investigate officer-involved shootings, but also fatal crashes. The Kane County Child Advocacy Center, which investigates crimes against children. And the Kane County Bomb Squad, who respond to calls and assist in the planning and security of special events. Not only do we share representation, but we also share intelligence and numerous resources like our ballistic evidence processing technology. Their trained deputies are given key card access to our facility to assist in the processing and examination of shell casings. Our administrations also work together in response to the Safety Act, which changed how we process warrants and pick up arrestees. We collaborate with the Sheriff's Department daily, assisting in response to calls and backing deputies on traffic stops. Over the past year and a half, our APD dispatch system logged nearly 300 calls for service, where our officers assisted one or more of Kane County's deputies. This does not include the numerous times their deputies have backed up our officers, which we greatly appreciate. And this obviously does not capture the countless times officers drive by one another on a traffic stop and exchange a thumbs up just to make sure they're okay. Our profession is centered on safety, the safety of the public and the safety of our officers. I can assure you that the deputies of the Kane County Sheriff's Department and all of us at APD are committed to backing each other up and providing assistance whenever it is needed. These are just a few examples of how our administrations collaborate and communicate. We deeply value these efforts and the contribution of every officer and deputy involved in this partnership. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keith Cross. I'm the Chief of Police of the Aurora Police Department. As you can see from the information already shared, Sheriff Hayne seems a bit disconnected if he believes our agencies aren't collaborating. Let me be clear. The men and women of the Kane County Sheriff's Department and the Aurora Police Department do an extraordinary job working together to serve this community. Our hearts go out to the Kane County Sheriff's Office for the loss of K9 Hudson. It was a tragic situation that no one ever wants to see repeated. That said, the insinuation that the Aurora Police Department or the City of Aurora had any responsibility for K9 Hudson's death is both false and deeply disrespectful. Kane County State's Attorney Jamie Mosser, who attended the ceremony as well, has made it clear that she does not place any blame on our department or the City of Aurora. We appreciate her support, which reinforces that these claims are completely unfounded. The Aurora Police Department has always and will continue to collaborate with other law enforcement agencies, including the Kane County Sheriff's Office, to protect our residents and preserve the quality of life that our community deserves. It's unfortunate that the sheriff has taken several opportunities to cast stones at our organization and our city. It's uncalled for, it's unwarranted, and it's unprofessional. It's also unfortunate that he continues to make decisions to further his perceived between our two agencies. Ordinarily, when the leaders in law enforcement have an issue with one another, they sit down with that organization's leadership to work through it. Sometimes you might have to agree to disagree. but at least you make the effort. The last time we attempted to meet with the sheriff to resolve any perceived issues, he failed to show up on the day of the meeting. I've been a police officer for 30 years, and I've never seen a law enforcement leader try to blame another agency for the loss of one of their officers. While we felt it was important to address these issues here today, our goal now is to put this matter behind us and move forward with a clear focus on our mission, ensuring the safety and well-being of the public. This is our commitment to the residents of Aurora, and we hope that Sheriff Hayne will do the same for his constituents of Kane County. Thank you for your time.
At this point, I'd like to open up the floor for any questions, taking into consideration we can't answer anything in regards to the pursuit or the ultimate shooting of Ms. Moriarty.
For Chief Cross, you mentioned that you had organized a meeting and that he failed to show up. When was that meeting supposed to take place, and who would it be with?
October 31st, 2023. And that would have been with representatives from the city as well as representatives from the Aurora Police Department.
And I can say, and also about that particular meeting, you know, my office, the mayor's office, set up that meeting, and he determined that morning by saying that he was, by not even calling another department, which in turn called us to say that he would not show up, to talk about what he thought was an issue that needed to be addressed. And I spoke with him after, attempted to anyway, to speak with him to see why he didn't show, to address the issues that he said were important to him and his office, and with no good response, or no response at all.
The sheriff mentioned last week. Oh, sorry. The sheriff mentioned last week that he tried for 6 years to set up a 9-deputy team and a supervisor to, quote, integrate with the police department. Can you talk about what he meant by that? And
So the sheriff actually asked us, or he threw out a suggestion that we integrate 9 of his police officers into our police department, primarily into the Special Operations Division. First and foremost, let me say that I believe that our Special Operations group does a wonderful job with the job that they have to do in this city, and I think our statistics bear that. But while I appreciate Sheriff Hayne's offer, there are many things we actually weighed in on it. You know, we talked about it, and we decided that it was going to be more of a problem than a positive, because they have different policies, they have different procedures. Whose command are they going to fall under? There was logistical issues. So while we didn't decide to integrate them into a police department, we've always offered to work with them. In fact, we hold a meeting amongst local area departments, a gang and drug meeting that his people are invited to every other month. We try to keep the lines of communication open to share intelligence and help each other out. So that's what he was referring to.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming out this afternoon and allowing us to set the record straight. Thank you.